Fit for Life Radio, back with another episode this week. It is your host, Gary and Will,
Hi.
and we have special guest, Jillian, here with us.
Hey.
That is Jillian, if you couldn't tell. That was not Will.
That was me. I'm doing a whole interview with my other personality.
So she is a lot of things.
Yeah.
She is yoga instructor extraordinaire,
Yep.
new mom extraordinaire,
Mm-hmm.
wife extraordinaire,
Mm-hmm.
Oof,
a little bit of everything.
that's a lot. That's a lot of shoes to fill.
So I guess starting off, for everyone listening, so here at Coastal Strength and Fitness, we have yoga on Saturdays, and you are the instructor.
Mhm.
And now that I come to think about it, you want to just explain the whole story about how we even got to that point
How that
first?
started.
Oh, well, so a few of my friends actually referred me to Coastal for working out. I kind of wanted to change up my routine a little bit. Of course, I was always going to yoga, but I was like, I kind of want to mix it up and see because I've never had a structured fitness life. When I was in college, I'd just run on the treadmill for like an hour and be like, boom, killed it, and then be done. But
Mimosas.
yeah, I kind of wanted to
College workout.
see what else was out there. So, of course, friends referred me. So I came to Coastal, did the trial, and I was like, damn, I really like this. And was working out. And then, of course, you guys are all super personable and just conversations came up. And Gary found out as a yoga teacher. And I was like, oh, yeah, I teach yoga. I didn't even think anything about it. And he was just like, oh, well, do you think you'd want to teach here? I was like, oh, yeah, let's do it. Because, I mean, the community was cool. And I was like, well, this just seems like it would be a good fit, right? Because, I mean, there's lots of places you can take class. But I think that as a teacher, I take that really seriously. And I don't teach someplace that I don't connect with. And so that was pretty cool being able to connect on that level and just be here as a teacher. I think I've been teaching yoga here for like 3 years.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
That's what I was thinking about. It's definitely that because it was since before when I moved to California.
Yeah.
And I was there for 2 years. I've been back for a year and a half, so that's 3.5. So
Yeah.
probably more like
It's like 4 years.
Yeah, and I was taking
Wow.
it for a while, so 4 years.
Yeah, and actually it was before I started working way in Norfolk.
Mhm.
I was still working here when I started teaching. So
Yeah.
damn, yeah,
Yep.
it's been a while.
So, and it's great. Like we have, like with anything, there's the core.
Yeah, there's
you
a
know,
core group that's always
core
there.
group that always comes and then always get new blood in. And for a lot of people, it's their first experience with yoga.
Oh yeah,
Which I'm sure is fun for you to see, and in general exciting for us because a lot of people would never try it because as with anything, environments, which we talk about all the time, so environments can also be intimidating. So to some people, just like a gym environment, a yoga studio environment can be very intimidating, right? Everyone's going to
For
be
sure.
flexible, and it's, the woo-woo or this or that or whatever. And so whereas here, it's if someone's already been coming here, training, it's just the coastal environment, so they're somewhat comfortable, and then they get to do yoga in what's a non-intimidating environment for them at that point. So so you get a lot of people to try it out. So, and you're also a yoga instructor at Tribal Yoga,
yeah.
right? How many hours I know now with having a little one, it's probably changed, but in general, like how many hours were you instructing a week typically?
Now I'm only teaching like 3 hours a week because I have a full-time job. But when teacher training starts up, which I help with, I will be there for like 20 hours some
Yeah.
weekends plus my normal teaching schedule. So I'd say like 23 to 25 hours if I pick up for subbing or anything like
I mean,
that.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
On top of a full-time job
Yeah.
And traveling
and a child.
traveling the globe for kickball.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too. I forgot kickball.
Yeah.
That kickball all-star.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the training weekends can get really, they can be a lot, but they're all great. It's, I mean, you guys can attest to this. Like when you enjoy what you're doing, you can kind of sprint through and do those super long weeks.
Oh, for sure.
You're not
Yeah.
going to want to do it all the time because then you face burnout, but you're willing to just put your head down and just grind because you're like, man, this is really great. This is cool to share this with people, and you see that folks are getting a lot out of it. So that's kind of keeps you going.
Oh yeah, like it. Even like a good example is like even if we have, a coach or two out of town, like it might be a long day, but we enjoy it, so it's not even like it's that big of a deal to coach more than normal or whatever we need to do because like we like to be here.
My favorite posts are when you're in the morning. When you're like talking about getting up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. I'm like, yeesh,
That
that's
little
rough.
that meme with that like I don't even know what
The
he
fox,
is. The fox.
the fox. It looks like someone like tossed him in the dryer.
Yeah. And he,
Just sitting on the
on the
chair.
end of the chair.
That's
Yeah.
how I feel.
But so yeah, I think you're also a good example of the whole like fit for life, and in general, our audience, yeah, we're not bodybuilders and power lifters and extreme like fitness people. It's just folded into our lives. So for
Mhm.
you, you originally even came to Coastal. You were like kickball is very important for you. You also to support your yoga practice and the strength carry over. So you know, talk about a little about like your history, maybe as an athlete before, stuff you've done, and yeah, how for you how it all kind of works together. And now since you just recently had a baby, so obviously you can't work out like you want over that stretch, and now
Mhm.
you're getting back into things. Kind of yeah, just your whole journey and everything with that.
Wow, that's a lot.
Just tell us your whole life story.
Okay, starting
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
beginning. So my fitness and movement journey actually started from ballet. So I did ballet for 13 years. I wasn't a sports person. I kind of did it here and there, right? So like in 6th grade, I did Hershey track and field, right? That
Mm,
wasn't anything super serious, but it was something that was fun, and I was kind of, I don't know, built sort of like an athlete. I mean, with dance, it just kicks your butt. Like ballet, you, I mean, you get so many physical benefits from that. So like running wasn't a big deal. Again, it was 6th grade, so it's not a big deal anyway. Um, I like had a little thing with soccer for like
mhm.
2 seconds, but really ballet was it for me. I danced for like 13 years. Even got into a pre-professional like summer program and stuff like that for modern, which I didn't even do. I just went with my friend for an audition. So that was my background. And it was funny because as I was coming up dancing, everyone's like, "You really look like an athlete," which dancers don't want to hear. Just
Yeah, because
anyone
they are
listening,
athletes. Yeah.
anyone listening, do not tell young girls when they're at ballet, "You look more like an athlete," because
Mhm.
you are going to like make them feel like
Destroy
shit.
them.
Just FYI,
Well,
just
funny
putting
thing
that out
was, I
there.
was when I was working with this lady who does a lot of corrective stuff and just works with a lot of athletes of all
Mhm.
types, professional athletes. And I asked her like, what's the best athlete as far as a blend of strength, mobility, and just like to where everything was combined. And I was thinking it'd be maybe like gymnast or something, but gymnast has a very high, like they're beat up, have a lot of injuries, and then
Mhm.
do have some limitations. But she said that dancers were essentially
The
the
best athlete.
best of like strength and mobility and just kind of like folding all the attributes together. So
Yeah, the people sleep on the cardio of a dancer.
Yeah, and you just have to
Like,
keep moving.
yeah,
And
you'll have
how much stuff you're actually doing.
hmm
exactly the technique
Yeah.
and looking like you're happy when your feet hurt,
yeah,
all that stuff.
yeah, and just I think the biggest thing too is body awareness.
Hmm.
You know,
Absolutely, absolutely. And that was, I mean, with dance, I was really in love with that, like mind body connection. Just loved it. I
Hmm.
loved music. I mean, who doesn't love music, right? I love dancing, and it was just such a part of me. Again, 13 years of my life. So I went to college, had to stop dancing because I worked full time. And once I got to the
some
end of
people work dancing full time when they're in college.
this is true. I was not one of those. I was folding shirts at Champs,
Oh, man.
which I made a lot less money than the other folks who
No
danced in
offense
college.
to anybody that danced in college or
No,
dances for a
yeah,
profession.
the ones who danced in college, the way some folks
Yeah,
do in Miami, they balled out. I
yeah, I
was
was
I'm
gonna
folding
just saying, like,
shirts.
that's a pretty lucrative thing to do, man. They were big balling while I
Mhm.
was poor, so
Exactly, especially in Miami.
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Mm.
So
Respect.
once I finished undergrad, I was with Daniel. I met my husband in undergrad, and
So Daniel might be the nicest guy I've ever met.
Yeah.
In case anybody doesn't know him, like I think he's the nicest person I've ever met in my
Mm.
life.
he's great.
Like he's like 8 feet tall, but like the softest, warmest human being ever.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like I just want to hug him every time I see him, and I had to fight the urge because it's not professional to do. But
I'm a little bit biased, but just sidebar, I think that he's like one of the most aspirational people I know. He just is kind. Like he will just help anybody,
oh, for sure,
strangers. He's great. I'm very lucky.
yeah.
Which is I mean, I don't know, what a gift from going to school so far away from home. So
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
no, it's okay. It actually kind of all pulls together because I graduated a year before Daniel. He was in school for engineering, so his last year was awful, right? It was really demanding. He worked full time and was doing his last year engineering, and it was really tough on our relationship. And so rather than end our relationship, I was like, I need a hobby. Because if I don't get a hobby, our relationship's not going to work. Because, in a relationship, you demand a certain amount of attention and time, and if you're not getting that, then your relationship starts to fracture.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I need a hobby. And so I was like, I took one yoga class in college, and it was like I remember being in Shavasana, the relaxation at the end, and feeling like I was floating. I was like, let me try that again. That seems like it would be really cool. And so I started going to yoga. And I went to one class, and then before I knew it, I was at yoga 4 to 6 times a week. And I've said it in my life in the past, but like yoga, I credit yoga with like keeping me and Daniel together. Because without it, I would have been like really annoyed all the time. What do you mean you need to come home and build a robot? This is our time. Like I don't think we would have made it past then. So that was it started out as just building a hobby and then turned into a lifestyle, which was like a natural kind of progression from the dance background into a different sort of movement and connecting with mind and body. So that's kind of, yeah, that's
Yeah.
how I got into yoga.
So, and one interesting thing with that is, so obviously, as someone getting into yoga with your dance background, um, it did come natural a lot, right? So
Mhm.
that is what it is. Whereas now recently, especially when you were pregnant, and you have a human inside you,
Yeah.
and your body changes. You mentioned how you like it gave you a different perspective of like
Oh, yeah.
limitations and things like that, to be able to relate better to clients and people. With different body shapes as they're trying to learn or get into the practice of yoga.
Hmm.
How did that kind of, what'd
Man,
you take away from that?
um, I developed a level of empathy, right? Before it was like sympathy and be like, dang, it must be really hard to move. And then I went through pregnancy and I was like, damn, I get you. I understand. Because I mean, what a freaking journey. Because I mean, I've pretty much lived in the same body my whole life.
Hmm.
And I've talked to both of you guys about how like I feel like as I went through pregnancy, I had like 20 different bodies because
Yeah.
you change so differently. And I know I talked to Will before that while I was pregnant, I was still doing a little bit of yoga, still doing some movement, and I had an injury
I
that
remember
wouldn't
that.
have happened unless, all that elastin in my body was there where like everything's just loosey goosey. It was
Hmm.
something simple as like in a low lunge, back knee down, tuck the back toes under, lift your knee up. Something terrible happened. And so I had an injury, and that was probably at the end of my second trimester.
And that's something like that's like an easy position. Well, I'll say
It's
like for
so,
you
so
especially,
easy.
like something that probably comes real naturally to you. Um,
For sure. So I just kind of took it for granted and just kept going along with it at yoga. And then as my pregnancy progressed, I was fine, right? Because I was babying it. I'm like, I know I
mhm.
have an injury. Cool. But the whole labor situation happened where you have an epidural and you don't feel anything, and people are contorting you to get this baby out. And then everything wears off
And then you can feel everything.
and then you can feel everything. And that injury that was, okay, I need to just lay off this, was just so amplified. It was awful. It was terrible. I don't even have a good enough word for it. I've never had that much pain in my life. And I had a baby.
Yeah.
It was I think you said it was probably my hip flexor.
Mhm.
That was the worst thing. And so coming back off of that and not being able to have the movement in the body I'd been accustomed to was really, like I said, it built a lot of empathy because now I know what it feels like just not to have the space available to move a certain way or have an injury and not be able to do that because I was very grateful and lucky that throughout my journey up to this point I didn't really have any injuries, like a shin splint here and there, and like a toe injury or something like that, but it wasn't anything major. And so, yeah, going through pregnancy really taught me a lot, not just for pregnant folks, but just talking to people of different just availability in their body, right? If
Hmm.
you have a hamstring injury, like you're not going to just hinge super easy. If
Yeah.
you have like a bigger midsection and I say fold, like you're only going to go but so far because your upper body and your low body are going to meet a little bit sooner than someone who's smaller in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of getting a clearer perspective of what different folks go through when they're on their fitness journey. And of course,
And one thing with that too that's kind of like it's a hard subject to talk about because you don't want people to feel uncomfortable or offensive, but when you weigh more, especially if you're overweight, it's like people in that circumstance are way too hard on themselves because they're going to go in the gym and then they feel so that's what can happen in yoga. They can be like, I'm not as flexible, but it's not that they're not as flexible. It might just be, they don't have as much room, right, to get
Yep.
there. But then they're hard on themselves. Like, same thing happens in the gym. We could be doing a body weight squat or a split squat, and they could see someone doing it with this masterful form, and that person may weigh 130 pounds, right? And this person could be 210 pounds. And they're like being so hard on themselves, like, well, I can't do a perfect squat and I can't add weight, but your body weight's 210. Let's take 70 pounds and put a 70-pound vest on the 130-pound person. All of a sudden, their squat and lunge and split squat looks a lot different, right? So,
Yep.
sometimes it's hard to get across, how that can affect a lot of fitness. And then instead of being feeling negative or bad about your situation, really you should be like, man, you might actually be ahead of other people. It's just you're dealing with some of the extra weight which is there. So that's something to keep in mind when if you are like starting from a spot where you want to lose weight from and you want to do yoga or you want to go to the gym. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. Like a lot of the limitations aren't because you're not flexible. They're not because you're weak. It's just literally a just circumference body type thing. You have less space, less thing to move. You have more weight that you're carrying around. So yeah, it's a great point.
Yeah. And Will spoke to this a little bit in mentioning Daniel. My first lesson in this was being with someone who's over a foot taller than I am. So I'd put stuff in the fridge and he's like, where is it? I'm like, it's at the bottom in the back. He's like, I can't see that. So our whole think tall, right? That's how our house works.
Yeah.
If I want him to find it, I have to think
That's
tall
actually
and
cool.
put it somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the world is not meant for tall people. Well,
Right.
not
I
meant,
mean-
but like things are not designed for tall people.
Yeah.
But
so,
or short people. Why didn't y'all go the other way? Because you're pretty short. How tall are you? Like 5'4",
5'3". I'll just
5'3",
admit
yeah.
it. I used to say 5'4". I'm 5'3".
So did y'all flip a coin? Like you could have taken think short and just gone that way.
No, but the perspective's different. The fridge
That's true.
starts from the floor and goes up.
Yeah.
It doesn't start from the ceiling down. So I can see everything in the fridge. It all comes down to the fridge.
And he has to eat more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I bought cookies for him and just want to like tuck it in the back, I just
So is
bought
there a
shelf to
market
the back.
for fridges that start from the ceiling? And they just come
It starts waist height and then goes up.
That
That's a
would
good
not
idea.
work for me at all.
I mean, you could get a step stool.
Yep.
Be like, I didn't cook dinner because I couldn't reach the chicken. Sorry.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, my personal journey through pregnancy definitely taught me a lot. And then I had the little hints from Daniel about thinking about folks who aren't my height. Like, I'll never be tall, but at least I have that constant reminder at home.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, think about the tall guy. And then now that I've gone through pregnancy, think about the person who has an injury. Think about the person who has body mass is a little bit different. So it's been a good journey, I think.
Yeah.
And like you said, folks show up and they're super hard on themselves. And I say a lot of times in class, like, have a moment of gratitude for everything your body had available to you today, and don't get distracted by what wasn't available.
Yeah.
Because if we think about that, we could list a million things
Yeah,
that weren't
every
available
one of
to
us.
us.
No matter who you are, you could be a pro
Yeah.
athlete that can't do X, Y, and Z, and you could pick yourself apart.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good point.
In a lot of ways, our body shape's going to dictate maybe what we are excel at and what we're going to have to work harder at. Different moves in yoga, it's going to be like that. Same thing in the gym. Like Daniel, there's certain things that are going to be harder for him because he's so tall, but then he's a beast on the rower. So length, kind of helps with that. So, a lot of times
it's just recognizing what am I
Yeah.
good at because of the way I am. Like
Yeah.
for me, compare me to Daniel with a rower. Like I'm 5'8". And my arms aren't but so long. Like I will never probably row like a 120, 500 meter. Just I'm not built for it, and that's fine. I'm cool with it. I'm not gonna beat myself up. And then Daniel could probably get under 120 if you train because the guy's freaking built for it. So, yeah, just realize like, hey, this is who I am and how I'm built, and like you can't change that. I can't make my arms longer.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't.
So one thing I want to touch on, which with yoga and the practice of yoga, and why most people, well, everyone would benefit from it in some way, but one that I like is because I always like to watch you train in the gym, coming from yoga as your base, and then now, as we all know, also from dance. So you kind of always have that mindfulness of movement. Whereas the problem now in the fitness industry is a lot of people find fitness and exercise through a lot of, especially over the last few years, it's just that super high intensity kick, of like, hardcore CrossFit and boot camp
And
and
Orange
like
Theory
just
and all
doing
that.
stuff and flopping through it, and you're just trying to make yourself tired, and there's just no thought about movement and form, and that's where when we opened, we want to be more mindful of movement and doing things right first and foremost. But it's always fun or interesting to watch, like you when you're in here, like focusing on form and being mindful of movement, and it's just a whole different angle. It should be the angle that everyone comes from, but it's not. It's super rare. But yeah, but then that's why, and then people are going to struggle with like slowing down their mind, when they're exercising because they think, it's this frantic thing. Whereas then when you get placed in yoga, you're forced to do it, and it's funny because that's when a lot of people are like, I don't like yoga.
Yep.
That's why.
Uh-huh.
It's being by yourself.
You don't, yeah, no,
and
you don't
being
like,
quiet.
yeah, you don't like listening to your thoughts and noticing
Yep.
limitations and being mindful and being present
And
like,
being vulnerable for a
being
second.
vulnerable. You don't like
Right.
any of those things.
And people will often say, "Oh, I'm not good at it." It's like there isn't really a good.
Yeah.
Like it's just a practice.
Yeah, like what is
And what are you good
It's
at that you've
just
never
a
done?
practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. People expect to
were you
just
good at
show up
cooking?
and
Well, I think a common one that I get when I, talk to people, like we have yoga and they're like, oh, well, I'm not very flexible. Like, I don't know if I can do it. Well, it's a really weird way to put it. Like the reason you
Yeah.
do it is to improve yourself. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. That's
Yeah.
like saying, nah, I'm not going to strength train because I'm not strong. Well,
how does that happen?
yeah, like we do it so
Training.
you can get strong.
Yep.
Yeah, it's it's difficult to overcome because people, like you said, they don't like quiet. They don't like hearing their thoughts. They don't want to feel like they're not good at something. And people often think yoga's really easy because unless your ass is getting kicked, people don't feel like you're doing anything.
Yeah.
That's
And
that's a hard one that
That
we
is
experience too.
frustrating
Yeah.
because really, if you've ever taken one of my classes, you're not just sitting there like a bump on a log because I'm holding you accountable for form.
Yeah.
And I'm not just telling you flop your body around. I'm not going to help you out because if you do the class how I'm teaching it, you're going to learn a lot about your body. That's going to help you in your life out here, but also every time you step into the gym and train. Because guess what? Will's not going to have to explain how to hinge over and over and over again because you're going to get that body awareness the next time he talks about it. And you're going to be like, aha, I got it.
Yep.
Like we're all, like everything that's offered here links together. Like one day helps the next day. And sometimes our least favorite thing to do is what we need the most.
Yeah.
I would say
think
that
which-
is always the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
with
the
people.
the funny thing is, you say like, and it's not like sitting on a bump, like a bump on a log. But the ironic thing is, most people will benefit, like need that, because like. So on our deload weeks, we'll do some breathing finishes. And I don't know if you saw in the Facebook group. This was probably a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
After
It was about
that, like,
4
people were
weeks ago.
they
jazzed
were
about it.
commenting, wanting more of that.
Yeah.
And I was telling Ben or someone, I was like, dude, I bet someone, if they wanted to, they could open a business where you basically like let people like nap or something. Like you just come in and because people
like a
almost
mindfulness
it's like
pod?
it's like they need permission to do that, right?
Yeah.
But we have the two states that we're in, like the fight or flight, rest and digest, and everyone's walking around. Fight or flight. Like
the
in their
time.
car, they're like that. The gym, they come and go hard in the gym. They're like that. So that's why things like yoga, which are going to help force and breathing finishers and mindfulness, like to flip the switch.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So that
For
people
people
can
to
calm
be there.
down. And they'll get more results from that. A lot of the thing that holds people back is they're just so stressed and wound up all the time, and then they emotionally eat, and just this whole cascade of events. But yeah, most people need and would benefit more. I tell people all the time, like, especially if they're coming here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then even another cardio session or two. I'm like, look, whether you want to or not, or would like it or not, if you come Saturday, like, yoga would be better. Like yoga would help you get more results more than another cardio workout.
Yeah. I think
And it's funny because they're literally the two. We have the Saturday SmackDown.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're
the
polar opposites.
the hardest class of the week, and then yoga. It's like polar opposites, and depending on how other people's week, how much they came, stuff like that. Like most people need
They need to chill.
to chill.
I think
Yeah.
It's just so
a cool thing to
uncomfortable.
think about too is like if people are always in like their fight or flight mode, if you're always stressed, like you won't adapt, right? To most things. Your body's not in a state to improve itself in some way. So like it actually kind of works against people to always be in that state. People would be better off strength training, breathing for 5 minutes, just some parasympathetic breathing to cool down after their workout to get you a little more into a state that's going to actually help you build muscle and optimize yourself rather than constantly being turned up to 10 all day. Well, if you're turned up to 10 all the time, then you actually might be making it worse on yourself.
Absolutely.
Which is why it's important to have the balance of turning it up to 10 but also being able to turn it back down on the other side.
And that's where, which I've never really thought about this. That's a super hard sell for like yoga and studios. Is people do want all that, but it's funny for us. It's like, when you have a little kid and you're trying to get them to eat some of their vegetables or whatever, you got to hide it. Like in my mind, in actuality, every higher intensity workout, every strength workout would end with a breathing finisher, right? But the problem is, people don't want that. They want to feel super smashed, right? So it's like, and if we do that in every class people are ending, it makes them uncomfortable. They're not going to want to stay, right? And then we know, well, they're going to go somewhere else where they can get, go 100, treadmill dash every 6 days a week and feel super exhausted and not get even any of the other stuff. So for us, it's like this balance of what people need versus what they want,
Yeah.
But that's where we love if you kind of sprinkle it in and then cultivate that in your environment, then it's cool. Then people are asking for more of it, right? And then you can build that environment. So then when you get new people in, they see how everyone's excited about it and things like that. But from yoga, it's just that 180 of,
Decompression and being by
decompression.
yourself.
And you'll probably naturally attract all the people who are already zen and chill and comfortable and flexible. They naturally gravitate to it. So the to get people who that's their weakness.
If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out.
Yeah.
Which means they need it the most.
And then trying to get them to pay
Yeah.
Well, and like you
100
said,
to $150 a month or whatever to be uncomfortable.
yeah. Well, like you said, it's difficult. So like my first teacher, Penny, talks about how Shavasana is the most difficult posture in any yoga class. So Shavasana, again, the relaxation all the way at the end, because you just have to lay there.
That's
You're not-
that's my favorite part.
Me too, man.
No one's telling you to do anything. You can lay any position you want, but you have to make sure that you're actually relaxing.
Yeah.
So like midway through Shavasana, people will hear me say it all the time
This is
in
my
class.
favorite.
I'll say, go ahead and check in on your body. Make sure you're still allowing yourself to release. So scan from your tips of your toes all the way up. And as you exhale, let everything go, and then focus again on the space between your thoughts.
You would always say, I think I might be missing it a little bit, but make sure your jaw's not clenched.
Yeah,
And
relax your
and it-
jaw.
Your brows too.
Yeah,
Like, I
and they
feel like-
always would be.
Yeah, but it was a good reminder.
Yeah, let your tongue float away from the roof of your
Yeah.
mouth, because people lay there and their jaws clenched,
Yeah.
and they're like, like everything's
Well, because
like
letting
crunched
go
up in their
is
face.
uncomfortable.
It is so
Look.
difficult, but it is so
But
necessary.
you know what?
Someone's listening right now, and they're unclenching their jaw.
Yeah, if you're
They're
clenching
like,
your
"Oh, wow."
if you're clenching your jaw right now, unclench it, and then relax your brow. But
Yeah.
the feeling, like after you like truly relax and you're in shavasana, is like my favorite thing ever. Like it's
Yeah.
almost just like this warm buzz
Mhm.
like over your whole body. It's like my favorite thing.
Yeah.
It's
And-
great.
And it's just like, it's such a simple thing, but again, it's difficult. And really, Shavasana, I only do Shavasana for like 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But that 4 or 5 minutes, I mean, think of how small that is in the whole scope of your day. People don't even allow themselves that
No.
much time.
Yeah.
And I
to
wish they
just
would.
decompress. I mean, pull into your driveway, turn your car off, close your eyes, and take just 10 deep breaths.
Yeah.
And just really
Chill.
try to fill up your lungs, and then get all the air out, and then fill up your lungs again. And don't feel like you have to hurry and get in the house, because whatever's in the house is going to be there, whether you take 2 breaths or 10. So take the 10,
Yeah.
give yourself a few moments, and then go in.
Yep. And if that seems like a lot for someone, even just notice all the times you're tense and holding your breath. A lot of,
Yeah.
Oh
and
my
then be like,
God, and I do it too. Like people hold their breath a lot,
yeah.
Mhm.
way more than they think.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
it's just like you get so like most time when people are probably really busy at work and are super focused on a task, you're probably holding your breath at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Guarantee you. And all that does is just further that fight or flight
Yeah.
type response.
Or
Yeah.
just working your body somewhere that doesn't need it. It's like the shoulders coming up.
Yes, that's
Your
another
shoulders
common
just
one.
come up for no reason because you're
Mhm.
stressed, because you're trying to complete XYZ task, and then you're like, oh wait, relax my shoulders. Even when people are going to bed, I feel like Shavasana is the best training to help you go to sleep at night,
Yeah,
because you can just fully scan through your whole body and relax and clear your brain. It's just like a practice of anything else. Like the more you're doing a cardio workout, the better your heart's going to perform, right? Your heart rate
Mhm.
isn't going to skyrocket. You're going to come back to your resting heart rate a little bit easier. It's a practice. Same thing with like clearing your mind, shavasana, meditation, any route you want to take of just kind of chilling out. You got to practice that so that you can become better at it, quote unquote.
yeah.
And just who's like, I cleared my mind and I feel terrible. Like,
Nobody.
it's uncomfortable, but you never regret it after having done it.
Yep.
So,
I think. Damn, what was I gonna say? I completely lost it.
You're in a state of
Yeah,
mini shavasana.
mini
mini
shavasana.
shavasana. I took a quick little
breathe,
nap.
breathe well,
Took
breathe.
a quick nap. Oh, I was gonna ask you too. Like, what's the longest you've been in shavasana without falling asleep?
Oh. Okay, so there's this thing called Yoga Nidra. And it's like an hour long, where someone talks you through a shavasana, essentially, yogic sleep for like an hour. And the whole thing is don't fall asleep. So one of my favorite teachers who does it, Jen, she checks in, scanning through the body, blah, 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 making sure you're not falling asleep. It's promoting that sense of just stillness
Being.
without falling asleep.
That's hard.
I do that every night at about 8 p.m. Alexa's like, you falling asleep? I'm like, nah, I'm good. And I
Just
wait.
say you're Nidra. She'll be like, what? Be like, exactly, that's fine.
9:15, I'm in a haze. I'm like, I'm good. I saw everything that happened.
Oh man.
But like a regular shavasana, I don't know, because I'm a shavasana snob. I'll keep people there for like 8-10 minutes
Yeah.
if we have the time for it.
You know
So,
what though? I feel like once you kind of get to a place, it goes quickly.
For sure.
Like when you really are like truly like relaxed and kind of just by yourself, like someone could be like, "Oh, we're done." You're like, "What?" It's like we just started.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you're truly relaxing, like that happens.
Hmm.
It's a cool feeling.
Yeah. I love it.
So one thing I want to touch base on, because I think it would be good for a lot of people to hear, is you had mentioned, so like how recently you are back to your pre-pregnancy weight, but your body composition, strength, and stuff isn't what it used to be before.
Uh-huh.
So, and like that can be super frustrating. That's most women's experience with pregnancy and giving birth and stuff. And I just kind of want to have you touch on that and also explain like really what's going on. You know, a lot of times especially in the past before we knew what we knew. But our lean body mass dictates a lot of stuff, and really, what happens is, yeah, you can't be as active as you want to be, throughout the process, and we do lose muscle, right? So then what happens when someone's especially if you find yourself in the situation where you do get back to your pre-pregnancy weight, but body composition's not what it was before, even though your weight's the same, that literally just means that you have, say, 5 pounds less muscle and 5 pounds more fat, right? So your body composition's changed, and that can be frustrating, but you can flip that switch too. But then that's where the importance of being active and doing weight bearing and resistance training and things like that help us rebuild muscle tissue, and B, maintain lean muscle tissue. So yeah, so how, and for you it's interesting too, because you also kind of you play the kickball and you do yoga, so and you're all super in tune with all your body, so you notice the strength things a lot too, like what your body was capable of and just how it feels different now. And not having that strength.
Yeah, it's really interesting going from the whole pregnancy, like pre-pregnancy weight, going through pregnancy, and the whole quote unquote snapback. Like everyone's like super into it.
Wait, is that a thing?
Yeah, I didn't know it was a thing.
Snapback.
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 Yeah.
I thought that was a hat.
I have one of those. Like,
Not like
But
the
is-
trucker hat.
So does everyone like talk about like how they snap or want to snap back, or they do snap back?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you ever hear that, that's what people are referring to, like how quickly you snap back
Yeah.
after pregnancy.
is that something people brag about?
I don't think it's something people brag
Is that
about,
just
but it's
something to set yourself up for?
It's a compliment.
Yeah.
Put
Like
it,
people are like,
put it on your resume.
oh, a girl said it. Yeah.
6-week snapback.
Yeah, a girl. I mean, why do you think people post those? If you ever see someone post a postpartum picture, 6 weeks just look in the comments. Someone is going to say snap back. I
I'm gonna
guarantee
keep
it.
my eye out for
I
it
would
now.
put lots of money on
I'm
it.
waiting for a dude to pass a kidney stone and be like, hashtag check out the snapback.
Yeah, but it's a big deal. Like there's I don't want to say. I don't want to overstate it, but like there is a little pressure there to get back.
Yeah, I can see that.
But for me, it was surviving, like straight up. Like people say, "Oh, I want to focus on when I can hit the gym again." Blah blah. I'm like, listen, my kid needs to eat, so I'm still nursing, and so my kid needs to eat. My kid doesn't sleep through the night and all that. So for me, my quote unquote snapback was people are like, "You look great," and I'm like, yeah. Well, currently under pre-pregnancy weight. Body's in shambles because my body comp is so jacked up, and people are like, "You look great," and I am now saying it. I'm like, "This is what happens when you can't sleep and you choose sleeping over eating, because I don't have time," and so I kind of just let people know that it's not a thing that I'm like cheering for myself. Like I am failing in several like areas of my wellness life right now, keeping this baby alive, because she's my priority. And I think people like get lost in it and be like, "Oh, you look great." I'm like, I don't sleep.
Well, I feel terrible, so
I
thanks.
feel awful. But yeah, it's really funny how that is. But in terms of like trying to get my body composition back, like you said, it's like I'm fairly in tune with that, and I realize I'm in shambles. So like with the energy I do have, I really try to focus on my food, because I have to eat so much more. And I mean, funny enough, like Gary's the one who initially told me about how many calories I lose by pumping or nursing. I didn't know that. No one tells you that.
I'm a breast expert.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I bet you are.
So anyone needing pregnancy advice, go see Gary. But yeah, I had no idea. I had no clue. Like, I can't look at you.
I'm just imagine if someone comes in and you had like the whole office has changed.
I just-
There's like a breast pump on the wall.
Yeah. But I had no clue until Gary told me this, and I started looking at what I was eating, and I was like, holy crap.
So how many calories is it?
It was like 20 calories per ounce.
Okay.
So,
How many ounces is normal per day?
well, it depends on the
Everyone's-
person,
yeah,
right?
everyone's a little
But for
different.
me,
Don't give me that answer.
it's between 20 and 25 ounces.
Okay.
Maybe more than 25.
It's the typical answer for really everything.
I know,
with
we give
fitness
that
and
answer all the
nutrition.
time.
The answer is always, it depends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no one wants to hear that.
But like for me, what is that? Like 400 calories
Yeah.
plus a
So most
day.
people normally say like 350 to 400 calories.
Okay.
So
Dang, I mean, that's
a lot.
that's a lot of extra on like that. Yeah, doesn't go to you.
And that's a lot for someone already who wasn't eating enough calories when I first met you
Well,
guys.
I remember, working on
And I was
like
like, I
getting
have
your
to eat
protein
so
up
much.
and
Yes,
yeah.
so
And
like,
another factor is like how much body fat you have, So
Mhm.
like you're petite person, so it's you're going to be on the higher end of how much you have to consume, right? Because you have less body fat stores as well. So
if it weren't for Daniel, I'd be in worse shape than I am now in terms of like nutrition.
Yeah.
Because I just want to sleep. That's
He
all I want. He's like,
keeps you
hey, take
in
like
check.
5 minutes to eat. And I'm like, but sleep. He's like,
yeah.
You
eat.
need
I'm
this.
like, okay.
And y'all have a dog. Like how old's your dog?
Butter's
Butter,
3.
yeah.
Yeah, so he's still kind of like needs, that's young for a dog.
Yeah, we
So-
got a lot of we're juggling a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah.
in like a couple years, everybody's a little more mature.
Yeah.
It's gonna be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm learning along the way. I mean, even on the way out the door, Daniel's like, "Bring something to eat, please." He's like, "Did you eat?" I'm like, "Yeah, I ate breakfast." He's like, "Bring something to eat." And I was about to walk out the door. He's like, "Did you get something to eat?" He's like, "Oh, no, I forgot. Get a pear, something."
I
And I'm
told
like,
you.
Okay.
He's the greatest guy
So I
ever.
just finished eating
Yeah.
my pear in the car on the way here
Good.
because
Thanks, Daniel.
I
forgot.
picture him like he has a pear tree in the yard,
Yeah.
and he just
He-
doesn't need a ladder. He just reached up and grabbed the pear and said, "Take this, sweetie."
It was almost like that.
Like he's Adam.
Yeah. But he knows that you
Yeah.
need it. Oh.
But yeah.
But Adam like gave a poisonous apple.
Yeah,
So
he wouldn't do that to
He
you.
wouldn't do that.
No, that's why
Yeah.
he's Daniel, not Adam.
Yeah. That was the mistake from the beginning. Should have
Should've
gone
been
with
called
Daniel.
Daniel.
But yeah, so and that's the thing, right? Like, you're someone who is athletic growing up. So all the dancers, I hope, you appreciate that.
That's right.
I call it, she was an athlete growing up, and yeah, kind of rolled into the lifestyle with the yoga and aware of everything, and still there's ups and downs and struggles and
Different priorities, like a child.
Yep. And
Yeah.
what comes with that, which is your own standards, whereas to other people they could be like, great, why would you want more? But you have your own standards as well. So, and it's getting back to certain habits and consistencies maybe that feel best doing. Yeah, and we're not all there all the time.
Nope. I think it's a good example. I think.
Yeah.
And I think for you, with all of your background and stuff, like, yeah, you just have shifted your focus, and it's fine. And I'm sure you still have a base level of movement that you at least maintain.
For sure.
May not be as intense as it was when you could just focus on only yourself.
Yeah.
But that's fine. So still kind of maintaining that is fine, And
Yeah.
then, when your priorities are easier, not I can say easier, but different, like, yeah, you can maybe put more into it.
And
Yeah.
you learn a lot, like we said before. Why would you be great at anything the first time you do it, right? We've had a couple of girls at the gym, ladies, and their second time around, they were a lot more comfortable with the whole process, and they were able to maybe feel more comfortable working out all the way up till the birth, and then just the whole process was smoother for them because they'd been through it before.
Yep.
And they snap back.
There you go.
A lot quicker, and it's just because they're better at it, right?
Yeah.
So, and I say better at it, like not that it's a competition. I meant that in 100% in the terms of better at it with their self, right?
Yeah.
Like with
Yeah.
what the process that they're going through, being comfortable with it, and making it all work for them. So
Yeah, and I just encourage anyone going through any sort of physical change, whether you're coming off surgery or having a baby, just be real. Like this is the real world. This is an Instagram. You don't need to pretend like
Shit,
you're
it's
fine
not.
when you're not. Like things are hard, and that's cool. Like it's really nice that like whoever influencer on Instagram just posted their 6 week postpartum picture and they look amazing and they snapped back, blah blah blah. But it's okay, just be real. Like I said, I'm in shambles. I'm not ashamed of that. It's totally fine. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to use the tools that are available to me. It's all good. And everyone just give yourself a little grace.
yep.
Just do your best every day, and your best every day, it's not going to be picture perfect all the
Yeah.
time, and that's fine. Just try.
I feel like is this something Kim Kardashian? So was her recent pregnancies? Did they have a
Surrogate?
Yeah,
surrogate?
yeah.
Does she hashtag snapback?
The
I don't
stress,
know.
the stress of having a surrogate.
Not a surrogate, but Kim Kardashian
I
herself.
don't know. I don't currently follow her on Instagram, but
I feel like that's
You're missing
something
out.
She
Clearly,
would, she would do throw everyone off. Now I feel like some guy has to start the snapback movement for dads, right? Like
Yeah.
the
you
dad
put
bod.
yeah, you put on your dad
Snap
bod
back.
while you're going through the pregnancy with your wife, and then you snap back too.
You gotta, start the movement.
Is that a thing?
snapback.
Mm.
Damn. Hashtag snapback has 7.8 million.
Is it more
It's a thing.
ladies than hats? When you scroll through the
Um,
feed?
I don't know. There's a dude that doesn't have a hat on that needs to tighten up.
Mm.
It's actually more hats.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I'm
But that makes sense,
small
right?
sample size.
Like,
I mean, the hat game's strong. It's like the shoe game.
yeah.
I feel like more people wear hats than have babies. Though.
I mean, it's easier buy-in.
It is an
you
easier
know?
buy-in,
Yeah.
20 to 40 bucks.
Yeah.
And
you
not
get a hat.
everyone is snapping back, right?
you don't
I'm
like-
not
True.
posting a photo,
That's
right?
true.
I was just a normal average Joe pregnancy
Mm.
Yeah.
where I'm not posting snapback photos. So that's an even smaller percentage of people who are wanting to
Yeah.
take a picture of themselves and post it.
Snapback.
Mm.
I'm gonna start doing that after I eat too much on the weekend.
This is my
Hashtag
Monday
snapback.
snapback.
Oh man! By now it takes till like Tuesday.
My barbecue.
You ball out on Sunday. You got like a
Snapback.
food baby for a day. Hold a lot of water. You're bloated.
Are we gonna see this on your Instagram?
You might.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could do that.
Side by side.
Like I think
Snapback.
I could probably put on like 10 pounds of water in a week.
You start doing the thing, but instead of like month by month, you go hour by hour of like my food baby is the size of a grapefruit.
The next time you guys go to Austin, that has to be.
Oh my God, that
That'll
reminds me.
be
We
the
need to
food
go to
baby.
Austin again. That was a good trip.
When you think about it, what pops into your head when I say when were you most painfully full?
Most painfully full.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's
for
a lot
me-
of pressure.
For me, Vegas Wicked Spoon buffet in the Cosmopolitan.
Mm.
Woo.
That was really you really remember that quick.
Oh yeah, I ate more
That sounds
plates than
painful.
Daniel.
Mm. Mine was we went with the in-laws and family to the barbecue place down the street.
Smoke.
Smoke, and just one of you eat your entree, have like a couple drinks, and have the dessert. And then the thing I always underestimate is because I don't eat out all the time, and it's fattier meats. It's just all
Oh my
the
God,
fat
dude,
calories,
it
which
just
you're not
hits
seeing.
you.
So I'm looking at it. It's not a huge volume of food, right? Like it's two little things of green beans and corn on the bread, cornbread, your entree. It's just not a ton of food, but it's so much more calorie
Calorie-wise.
dense. And then next thing you know, like you're just eating, and then all of a sudden, like you're not like I don't feel guilty about it or bad.
Your
I feel
brain's just like you need
physically
you're
in
done.
pain from being so.
You
full.
know what? It was probably Austin when we had all the
Yeah.
barbecue. Like I think we had to had like 2 pounds of meat. Which is
Yeah, which I can eat.
yeah, but like having brisket
But with yeah,
and ribs and stuff like that.
yeah.
Especially when you get like the fatty part of the brisket.
And the
Don't-
side,
don't go
on
lean.
the sides.
Don't go lean on your brisket, man. Just
Mm.
live your life if you're getting something that good. But that's probably the worst. To where like walking, you just don't even really
Yeah.
want to. Like we had to walk back to the hotel, which was brutal.
You see how we subconsciously took your mom giving birth struggles and just
Turned
tried to make it our own. Like, but our problems are
But brisket.
food babies.
Is that mansplaining? Is that what that
being
is?
in pain from eating too much?
If you start posting hashtag snapback,
Yeah.
then people are gonna say, "Stop mansplaining the snapback." Will.
Look at us. We can't help ourselves.
Nah, that's a freaking problem.
Mm,
Turn everything into eating meat.
yeah. We need to. We got to bring someone on that can talk about fullness.
Who do you think could do that?
I think Justin, he goes pretty hard.
Justin
I feel
goes
he'd
pretty
wanna
hard,
talk about
yeah.
that. I feel like he doesn't have that many other problems. That's probably up high on his list.
Yeah, like just
So,
gets full.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Crystal can go hard too, but she can push past full.
Yeah. But
Like,
she's a mom too.
She might
so-
be. Yeah, she has more mental fortitude than
Yeah.
we do. Like I'm gonna stop like when I start to feel sick, but I think she could just keep going.
Well, Jillian, it's
Yeah, I
an
think
hour
it's-
already.
It's about,
wow.
Yeah.
It's about class time.
So we're glad you came on. I know we'll have to do it. We'll have to we'll get questions and stuff because people always like to hear from other people that aren't us
Yep.
because it's probably more interesting.
We can only say so
No,
much.
you guys are pretty damn entertaining.
So yeah, so we're glad you came on,
Thanks for having
and
me.
I know it was super helpful.
Oh yeah. So, to wrap it up, I think people should unclench their jaws,
Yep, be more mindful.
relax their brows.
Be nicer to yourself
Yeah. And
in your limitations.
be grateful for what's available to you today. Don't feel like you let yourself down. You showed up.
Yep.
That's enough.
That's
Yep.
most of it.
And like, I mean, we always like to say this. Meet yourself like where you're at, and then just build on that.
Yep.
Mhm.
You don't have to be like your starting place is someone else's like
You can't build on someone else's starting place.
peak or whatever. So
Mhm.
yeah. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Yeah, if you do have any questions, you can just hit us up on social media. Let us know.
Yep.
Ask Jillian. And Jillian's on Instagram too.
Yep.
Hashtag snapbackmama. No.
No, Jillian_yoga. Jillian with a J.
Yep. And she does
Easy.
like, cool little poses that you'll just,
We can't do.
aspire to do. But it doesn't matter because if you can just do quarter the pose, you're getting the benefit.
Or if
That's
you
right.
can just lay down.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
I'm real good at that one.
Yeah. Lay
Sorry.
down and do nothing.
Or I like to brag about the tree pose. For
Oh
something.
yeah.
That's right.
Is that the only one you can
Yeah.
do well? That's your
I'll
pride.
post it on my Instagram.
Hey, Shavasana for all. That's how I feel.
Shavasana for all.
All right. Till we chat again next week.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
As always, thanks for listening, guys. If you want to learn more, check us out at coastalfitnessva.com or garydeagle.com. We'll see you next time.